New at 5, one Greenwood resident is working to bring more attention to the neighborhood where he lives and works. Better known as Mr. Black Wall Street there, Mr. Greenwood. Tony Williams is an artist, entrepreneur, tour guide, handyman, and more for the businesses and people living in Greenwood. Fox News 3's Sanji Milburn got to hear him tell his story.
On behalf of Akuno Sankofa Bay, you know what I'm saying? Jay, where you at? We're trying to help our people elevate. Hope. H-O-P-E. We're giving them hope. We doing what we gotta do, you know. Every day, one step at a time, man. We gonna make it happen. Helping our people elevate. Yeah. Sometimes I practice focus, thought, and meditate. I'm trying to come with other ways to help our people elevate and seeking knowledge, make me levitate. The lifted mental state is what results from how we orchestrate. This for the family's sake. Let's self-reflect and self-evaluate. And every day, make sure the steps you take, you calculate. Receive a master's fate. I know I can't exist without the hate, but that's okay. I balance that with higher self today. Success is on this way, and after that, my flesh can pass away.
We're back with a special guest. Go ahead, introduce yourself, tell the people who you are and where you're from.
Hello, everybody. I am Tony Williams, and I am from Tulsa, Oklahoma, born in the community of Black Wall Street.
That's right. Give us a little history of your background, being in Tulsa.
My background, I was born here, raised here all 41 years. I went to John Burroughs Elementary, Cleveland Middle School. Went to Nathan Hale, and I got a trading diploma at Job Corps. My background, I come from a family with music and business, and they love cooking, singing, and all of that, man. Like I said, I've never really lived anywhere else. I've traveled, but I've never lived anywhere else. Tulsa's always been home. Me personally, I had music and fashion was my background, and when I stopped doing that, I started doing a lot of community work and a lot of work in our city. So yeah,
that's what's up, man. That's what's up. Since you mentioned music, I do know that you can sing, but I have not heard an album. Is there any have you ever thought about getting in the studio?
Yeah, I've been in the studio plenty of times, making few features on different artist projects and stuff like that. I've actually have some songs recorded, but I've never really, put them out there yet. So that's something for me and my producer, we need to handle that soon because everybody's been asking. So everybody tells the same thing, man. It's like, man, you can sing, but where's your album? You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I owe the people something, man. And so, yeah.
Yeah, because I've heard the vocals and you can. What I mean? I give you that. I just ain't never heard an album. Mr. Black Wall Street,
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about Black Wall Street. What is Black Wall Street for those who don't know?
Black Wall Street is a historical neighborhood. It's a historical, man, it's Black excellence, man. Back in 1921, we were the Mecca pretty much of all the nation. Black-owned businesses. We had our own currency. Back in 1905, a guy named O.W. Gurley, he purchased over 36 blocks, and he wanted to share. He pretty much wanted to see his people thrive, and so a bunch of businessmen came together, and over 36 blocks of Black-owned businesses and wealth and education, and we had hospitals. I mean, anything that you can name. We had our own currency. It was right here, where I live. I actually live in the neighborhoods of Black Wall Street, but Black Wall Street was that until the massacre. A guy named Dick Rowland, a kid named Dick Rowland, he was said to had raped a white lady named Sarah Page in the elevator, but they were actually got caught kissing, and so back in the 1920s, that wasn't allowed, and so they wanted to lynch him that night. The Black community, by us being old World War I vets, we wasn't going to have no parts of that. So we went down there, demanded that he be released from the jail. Fight broke out. Somebody got shot. And then later on, Klan's member, the leader actually Tate Brady.
Mm-hmm.
And he deputized the white community to come down to Black Wall Street, and they did what they did. And so, but that's where I'm from. That is Black Wall Street. Yeah. So.
I want to say it was maybe 3 years ago. I had went to an event where there was a white guy from here. And he went to both sides of the elders from that era and got both sides and came to find out that Dick Rowland and Sarah, the sister, they were in a relationship basically.
Yeah, they actually was engaged to be married. They, I had the pleasure of knowing Dick Rowland's people, his cousins, Miss Eloise Rowland. It's crazy because I had just spoke with her today, but I played Dick Rowland in a parade for the centennial, and me and her we shared a float together, and that moment in itself was just amazing, and I had no idea that they heard of me,
Yeah.
and it was just surreal, man, just to be amongst, Dick Rowland's, people, and to hear that they're proud of me and stuff like that, man. That was crazy, man. But yeah, she was actually telling me that they were actually engaged to be married. So yeah.
Yeah. What inspired you to become active or be a part of Greenwood Black Wall Street?
Man, I mean, it just kind of it was organic. Like I said, I did a lot of writing and singing for my church victories. I did a lot of fashion shows, styling, and all of that. And so when I was done with that, I pretty much wanted to stop. I kind of found myself, got myself in some trouble, basically. And then I lost everything. And then, I challenged myself. Like, my dad was an entrepreneur. And so I challenged myself to be like my dad, you know what I'm saying? And so I started a clothing line called T-Town Essence. And so, I started the online store. T-Town Essence is basically talking about Tulsa's culture and history. And so I started the online store, and my dream was to ultimately get into the stores. And so one of the shops down there, the Black Wall Street T-shirt and souvenir shop, gave me a shot once they seen my Dick Rowland graphic. And I showed them a Dick Rowland graphic. They donated some tees. They told me to give them to them in 2 weeks. Man, I gave it to them in a couple of days. And so at the time, that store was pretty new, and I had a lot of experience with people and fashion and stuff like that. So I would just, instead of me just selling Black Wall Street stuff, man, I wanted to volunteer my time and give my gifts and talents. Like I said, I got a background in fashion, so I would help the store out, give them different pointers. I would show up every day. I would volunteer, help them make shirts. I was there every day. You know what I'm saying? Trying to give them all my gifts and talents, trying to bring all that back to where, I'm from, and so sooner or later, man, like I had one of my buddies, Cody Ransom, come by. This was during the first year of COVID. And so at the time he got laid off because he used to work in the oil fields. And so Cody seen me out there, and amongst everybody, they would see me out there and be like, man, what you doing out here?
Yeah.
So, like, I'm helping out, being a part of this community however I can. And so I asked Cody to come and volunteer. And so Cody started volunteering and stuff like that. We soon got connected with, pretty much the rest of the community there on Greenwood. And, man, the rest was pretty much history, man. Like, yeah. So, I mean, everybody asked me, how'd you get the name Mr. Greenwood, Mr. Black Wall Street? And so it started, he started calling me Greenwood Williams.
Yeah.
And then everybody started putting the Mr. in front of it. And then the business owners, they would call me Mr. Black Wall Street, you know what I'm saying, because of my ability to bring people together and connect that community, together. And yeah, so.
Yeah, I've seen you've been down there for a while. How long have you been on Greenwood? How long have you been active on Greenwood?
How long? I would say since 2019.
Okay, yeah.
Down there. I mean, I've always hung out on Greenwood and stuff like that, but me basically being active the way I am now, I would say since 2019. So, and that's when my clothing line started in 2018. And so soon after that, like, that's when I started to put them in the stores and stuff like that. So I would say 2019 up until now. So, yeah.
Okay, next question. Let's get into your fashion. What inspired the fashion?
Man, Bro, I've always loved fashion. I love putting stuff together, man. But what really, inspired it is when I used to work at Walmart distribution center, and then that's close to Bartlesville. And so I end up I worked there Tuesday through Friday, and then I had a coworker, man. He was like, "Man, it's this new store opening up in the mall called Forever 21."
Yeah.
And he was like, "I think we should do it." And at the time, I'm like, "Man, I'm making plenty of money. Like, I don't need nothing else. But hey, what the hell?" And so he ended up didn't following through with it, and I fell through with it. And so I would be Walmart, Tuesday through Friday, get off that Friday and work Forever 21 on the weekends. And so sooner or later, I ended up getting fired. I think I was already on the step 2 or 3 or something like that, and came late. And so eventually, man, I ended up getting on the mall, full time Monday through Friday, man. And so uh, just being around all them different artists, being around all of that fashion and that energy, man, it pretty much inspired me to, you know, do fashion, man. I've done fashion shows. I've styled people. I've styled artists. Uh, all of that, man. It's crazy because, I started as a greeter. They were like,
Yeah.
"Man, we want
Yeah.
you up front." Talked to all the girls, and I
Yeah.
remember seeing you at the food court too. Yeah,
Yeah.
when you,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. What was that? Was it Charlie's?
Yeah. That's why I was
Yeah,
sending
it was
pictures as
Charlie.
you was
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about. I'm like, damn, me and bro did work in the mall together.
yeah. We sure
Yeah.
did, man. And
Yeah.
so, but anyhow, it was crazy because I started out as a greeter, man. They wanted me to holler at all the girls that came through, make them feel comfortable, and I did that. I loved it. They loved my energy and my style. And so I kid you not, man, when I would just be walking the food court doing break, lunch hour, or whatnot, it'd be different store managers from different stores. It'd be like, "Hey, man, we noticed you around the mall. Would you be interested in doing our visual merchandising?" And I'm like, "Man, I'm I've never went to school for none of this stuff, man." And
Yeah.
so when you do visuals, they normally give you a guideline, a sheet to go by, how they want the mannequins and stuff in the store styled. But man, they let me freestyle, bro. And so, like I said, sooner or later, man, it just caught like wildfire. It was just kind of like, man, it's this guy, man, it just freestyling all this stuff. And then like I said, getting to know a little bit of everybody to come through the mall and finding out who does what on it, fashion shows or their own little styling agencies. And man, I got connected with them soon. Quick, man. And so, yeah, that's how I
So it
got
sounds like
started in
it
fashion,
sounds
man.
like after you left. It sounds like after you left Walmart, everything went up for you.
Yeah, it did. I was also doing worship at Victory at the time, and so when I left Walmart, I started doing fashion in the mall full time, and then I got into worship leading at Victory, and so that was crazy in itself how that happened. uh, I ended up meeting this girl in the mall. She used to work at Finish Line, man, and I was trying to holler at her, and she used to do a lot of volunteering,
Yeah.
Victory. And so one day, I went up to a little urban group that she used to volunteer at Victory, and I would go there and hang out and stuff like that. But I'm just kind of like, man, like I see these folk all the time in the hood, man. Like I want to do something different. So
Yeah.
we end up going to a main service at Victory, and I seen this. They were I think it was young adults 3D. They were promoting that during the offering break. And I went. This was on a Tuesday night, man, and it was totally different, man. So me coming, me being a North Side kid, going way out in their little world and stuff
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like it was different. But I know I was willing. My dad was always, challenged me to get out of my comfort zone and do something new. And so, I end up, I pretty much I was in their world. You know what I'm saying? And I was learning, and me, like I said, I got a background in music and fashion, mainly soul music and all that. And the music that they was playing, man, I wasn't really getting down to it, man. And so, anywho, man, I remember uh, being down there at the altar, man, because during that worship, man, you got a lot of people down at the altar, doing what
Hmm.
they do. And so I heard God plainly say, because I was like, man, this sucks. But I heard God plainly say, like, well, why don't you do something about it?
Yeah.
Like, what in the world can I do? And so it was crazy, man. And so they end up having tryouts. This was the young adult service called 3D. And so they had tryouts. and I made it, man. And they would never put me on stage. Like I made the band, but they would never put me on stage, man. And so it was a youth service that they would have on Wednesdays, man. The pastor now, his brother John Doherty, Paul Doherty is the pastor now. His brother John Doherty, he ended up seeing me and heard me sing, and he was like, man, he was over the youth. He was youth pastor, and he was like, man, you need to try out for the youth band. And I'm thinking like, man, I don't want to be. I want to be amongst people my age, man.
Yeah.
But I was like, all right, I'll do it. And so back in the day, Victory had two different sets of buildings. They had a building where they held their colleges and their young adults and the youth services. Then they had the main, everybody, the bigger building, obviously for the adults and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So this particular week when I was asked to sing, they had this thing called Youth on the Weekend. And so that's when the youth went over to the main service and hosted the whole weekend. And they were like, hey, you up to sing? And I'm like, man, Victory is a mega church.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, Victory is a mega church. I think they got over like 7,000 members or something like that. And so I'm thinking like, man, I ain't never been in front of this many people, man. I don't know. And so, but anywho, man, like, I was like, okay, let's do it. And so I kid you not, man, if anybody know me, I love, having fun, dancing, singing, whatever, man, to bring that energy. And so that's what I did at Victory, man. I would dance, and it was funny because like Victory have two services on, they have a service on Saturdays, and then they have two services on Sundays. And so that Sunday is when I was up to sing. And so people after that first service, man, people were just like, wow, like did you notice everybody's reaction? And I'm like, no, I'm just having fun. And he was like, man, one of the guys was just like, man, everywhere you went, everybody else's head would turn and stuff like that. And so anyways, man, after the second service, man, the pastor at the time, Sharon Doherty, she's the founder of Victory. It's Paul and John's mom. And she had me go up there and pray. And I'm thinking like, man, I've never been in front of this many people. Now you want me to go up here and pray? Like I was nervous. And so I gave him a quick word of encouragement, man. And so what she introduced me as, she was like, hey, everybody, this is Tony Williams, and he represents the new style of worship, and a new generation is flooding in. And I'm thinking like, what? Like I'm just up here having fun.
Yeah.
And so now keep in mind, like, I tried out for the young adult service 3D, and they would never put me on stage. Tell me why after they seen what I could do, they were like, oh man, we got to have you on stage now. And so, bro, I kid you not, for the past 7 years, man, I was there on stage 4 days out the week, man. I was there for our young adult service, a Wednesday night, Saturdays, for the Sunday mornings, all of that, man. And I was a part of all their big mega Easter and Christmas productions that they throw every year, man. And so, man, that all just kind of, bro, like, my life is something out of a fairy tale, man, because things just happen, man. And it's like, I'll hear that still small voice and hear God say, just listening to God, man, it just took me on a roller coaster, man. And so it was kind of like I've just find myself in these positions in these rooms just by, being obedient, man. And so, yeah, that's how that all came about, man. And so, again, like I said, when I stopped doing all of that, I was, I started my clothing line, and that's how, what ultimately made me who I am today, man. So that's a little bit of that journey, man. So, yeah.
When you got to play Dick Rowland, how did that opportunity present itself, and how did it feel when it came to you?
Man, it's definitely an honor, bro. Like, I'm down there every day, man, and so I get a chance to meet some of the descendants, meet people who is up and coming, and one thing you would want is to have the respect of your peers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, man, when my peers just calling me Mr. Greenwood and they telling me, what an awesome job I'm doing, so word kind of spreads. And so Miss Williams, she actually was the orchestrator of the parade that year. And so they heard of me, a girl named Kenya. They heard of Mr. Black Wall Street. They was like, hey, Mr. Black Wall Street would be great for this. And plus, he got the Dick Rowland graphic. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, the Dick Rowland graphic at the time was going crazy. And so that's how that ultimately happened, man, to where I was able to play Dick Rowland, man, because, again, to Dick Rowland's family, man, they're just like, man, like, you're keeping this man's name, alive, and it's not in a negative light. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and like I said, my clothing line is just bringing awareness and telling people about Tulsa's culture and history, man. And so, man, that's how that came about. But it was just, like I said, indeed an honor, man, to play Dick Rowland, to actually be on the float with Dick Rowland's cousin, and to hear them say that they're proud of me and keep up the work, man. And that's an honor, bro. So, yeah.
That's how I felt when Tiffany Crutcher got to host a luncheon for the massacre descendants.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I felt getting to meet them, hearing their story, thinking about everything they've seen from that time frame to now.
Yeah.
And from them seeing Dr. King, Malcolm, the Panthers, to what we doing to ourselves today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it made me gain a lot more respect for those elders.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Their story
Yeah.
is so touching. You know what I'm saying? What they went through in the 1921 massacre is a real touching subject.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is, man. And so, and that's why I never, when they started, when they started giving me these titles and stuff like that, I'm like, and fair enough, man. I grew up right here. I still live on Greenwood, man. I own a lot of property here. My
Mm-hmm.
family, my dad is invested in this community, and
Mm-hmm.
so when they started calling, at first I was just kind of like embarrassed because I'm like, man, I don't deserve this.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
deserve this, man. And so, but when I actually accepted it, man, and me, I challenge myself. If you're gonna give me these titles and put this on me, man, I'm gonna live up to it. You know what I'm saying? I don't take nothing for granted, man, especially with the names being called Mr. Greenwood and Mr. Black Wall Street, man. And you know, I don't, I never claim to be the smartest businessman and the best, but what I can bring, I'm gonna give you my best, and I'm
yeah.
gonna be the best version of me. And so when I carry those titles and stuff like that, man, I'm gonna give you the best what comes along with it, man. It ain't just me holding the title and me just me holding the title, not living up to it. So yeah.
I also want to say I appreciate you for your donation to the Jays for AIDS, because I did the interview with Baxter and we was talking about everybody who contributed. So I do want to give you a shout out for that on her too as well.
Oh man, no problem, man. What y'all doing is amazing, man. It's nothing, bro. Like whatever. So what y'all doing are amazing, man. And we need all of that, man. We all have our parts to play, bro. And that's what it is at the end of the day. Just learning how to, play your part, know how to play your role, and know how to play the background when it's needed. So yeah.
One thing, not this is kind of off subject, but I would have never thought in my 38 years I would have been where I am today.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, coming like you say, coming from North Side of Tulsa, coming from, you know what I mean, that environment. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Of course.
To
I feel the same way.
being a
You know.
community activist, you know what I mean? I've been on seeing, you know what I mean, just doing the footwork. I ain't even gonna talk about what I've done, but you know what I mean, doing
No,
the
I get
footwork
it.
and
Cause I feel the same way, man. Like although I was raised by a powerful man and a go-getter and all of that, man, like I've had my shares of ups and downs, man. A lot of people don't know that, my dad raised me, and so, but a lot of people don't know that I was homeless. I wasn't applying myself. And that's really why I went to Job Corps, because I didn't graduate high school. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? And I was homeless. He kicked me out because I wasn't applying myself. And I've had ups and downs, man. And so, and crazy enough, a lot of people don't know this is that when I did, get some type of success during fashion and music and worship leading, even worship leading, man, I found myself in prison. I shouldn't have been in prison, but I spent some time in prison, man, and I lost everything. And so that right there was what ultimately made me who I am. Was when I went to prison, man, and falsely and got out.
That's something I never knew.
Yeah, man. And so, it was a situation, unfortunate situation that I shouldn't have been in, and found myself in prison because of it. They got me out sooner than expected because they overturned it and put me on a 6-year deferred sentence, which I just got out of last summer. So it's a year coming up here next month. But once I lost everything, man, like I said, my dad was an entrepreneur. You know this. He was a hustler. You know, I don't want to say hustle like in a bad way, but he was a
Yeah.
go-getter.
Yeah.
So I lost everything. That's when I challenged myself to be an entrepreneur like him. And so I started cutting hair. That's when the clothing line came. And so I challenged myself to make them pay with success. And so I didn't exactly know what that looked like, but now I got a clear, vision of like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do, and this is how I'm
Mhm.
gonna make it happen. And so, yeah. So, bro, like
It's
you,
kind
man,
of
I
like
would have never, huh?
it's kind of like before that light hit you, you didn't know your purpose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And something hit you, and it's like now you know why you're here. Now you know what your purpose is.
Yeah, and sometimes, man, you can even be in your purpose, and you not being obedient, or you being careless with your purpose, and you can lose
Mhm.
that as well. And that's where I was at, because, like I said, I was already known, so this mega, worship leader and in fashion and stuff like that, man. And I was just being careless, man. And so that's what happened, And I'm not really mad at the situation, because had I not went to prison, there wouldn't be no Mr. Black Wall Street. There wouldn't be no Mr. Greenwood. I wouldn't even be in the city council commission right now. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
that's a story in itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
The the commission, man. I've been in the commission now for about 9 months, and so our deputy mayor, she reached out to me through Messenger, and she was like, "Man, we need you." And I'm like, what? And
Yeah.
so I was like, okay, I accepted, not really knowing what I'm accepting, but I haven't heard from her in months, man. And so I kind of forgot about it. And then I see this email from my mayor, and I'm looking at it like, this must be spam and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And so I, I kept seeing messages from it, and I was like, let me go ahead and open this up and see what it's about. And it was our mayor, like, hey, we got this position open for you. I'm gonna appoint you to it if you want it. And bro, like, it's like I said, man, it's a fairy tale. And that's another title I have. It's like, man, I'm not gonna be a commissioner out here if I don't really love our city and our community, and I'm not trying my best, man. And that's all you can ask for from our leaders, man, is that you really have the heart for what you're doing, and
Hmm.
you trying your best to make a difference. And so
Hmm.
that's what I'm doing, my guy.
Yeah, man. Before we wrap this up, is there any message that you want to get anybody that's gonna catch this?
Man, all I can say is keep going. Life is gonna hit you, but keep going. Do you have the strength enough to keep going? You know, uh, no matter what happens in life, if it doesn't take you out, that means you're still here for a reason. So
That
you
part.
can't. I mean, and life is hard. It is hard. Trust me. I lost my father a few years ago, and he was my rock. He was my everything. And losing him, and I thought, I never been a drinker or a smoker, nothing like that. But losing my dad the way, I lost him, man. I was just praying to God that I didn't resort to those type of things, man. And so, but I just kept going. And so the message I want to leave to everybody, even though life is gonna come, it's life. It's just life. But
Yeah.
can you handle it? And when you do go through it, you just got to keep going, because at the end of the day, although I'm living in the blessings, and I can't complain about how life is going right now. You're living for somebody else, because somebody else could be inspired by your story.
Hmm.
So all I can say is just keep going.
Yeah, that's why this platform is called Hope, or helping our people elevate. Because, like you just said, your story could save someone's life.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
and you just never know. Who may need to hear that. And so
yep.
with people hearing your story, I mean, your faith, your humbleness, your obedience, has gotten you where you got. You know what I mean? And that's a blessing within itself.
Man, and I'm so grateful. Like I said again, man, like, understand, like, it's a blessing to be able to do these amazing things, and hold these different titles, and achieve certain things. But man, at the end of the day, you gotta give back. You always gotta make sure that you're mindful, because there's other people looking at you, man, and you want to be a good steward over these gifts and talents that God has given you, these blessings that God has blessed you to have, because it's it's not just for us. it's for somebody else to keep going. So, but yeah.
Now, before I close again, if anybody wants to reach out to you, like for any clothing, fashion, maybe they want to link up with you, how can they greet you?
Well, I'm easy to talk to, but now, the website for my clothing line, www.ttownescence.com. I'm on Facebook, Tony Williams. Uh, I have Tony Williams 918 Instagram. That's where pretty much you can find me, my guy.
And just catch you on Greenwood, huh?
You can always catch me on Greenwood downtown or in City Hall. So that's where I'm at.
Most definitely, most definitely. I appreciate you giving me this time, man, and coming on my platform. And I will be seeing you here soon.
Yes, sir, man. I definitely appreciate being invited. It's definitely an honor, and just keep doing your thing, my guy. Just keep doing it.
Yep. Most definitely, man. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir.